And welcome our audience tonight to our March meeting of the Design Review Board. And as you know, we attempt to assist property owners with improvements to their residences or businesses in either the historic districts or overlay districts. And we usually have a process we go through at the beginning where we review our minutes from the previous, this will be the February meeting, work session and regular meeting. And if you all have had time to look at those, we will vote on approving them or modifying
Mr.
them.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. We approve the minutes of the work session and regular meeting of February 5th, 2019.
Okay.
Seconded.
I've got a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Good. Now we'll ask our secretary if she would introduce us to the first application or the application tonight.
All right. The only item of new business on the agenda is special tax assessment application number tax 024. Applicant Christopher Lawler requests preliminary approval of restoration work at 443 Lawrence Street Southwest for the purpose of the special tax assessment for historic properties. Tax map parcel number 105-12-01002. And Mr. Lawler has received a certificate of appropriateness for all of the improvements visible from the right-of-way. So you have technically approved that via the certificate process already, but he's done a very thorough job of detailing in the application all of the work done, the modifications to the first floor layout. So I summarized it in the staff report, but just note that this is a contributing property in the historic overlay district. It was constructed in approximately 1935 and is known historically as the Russell Head House and 4 acres.
Okay, thank you. And I believe we have the Lawlers here tonight, and if you all could come to the center lectern and then state your name, and we know your address, but state it again for the record, please.
My name is Chris Lawler from 443 Lawrence Street, Southwest Aiken.
Great, great. And I can't imagine we'd have any questions. You have a very thorough and detailed explanation of the work that you intend to do, and but I'll see if if anyone would like to have further questions. We've been through the house, and you've explained some of the interior modifications, primarily with the kitchen, I think.
Yes.
And then one exterior entrance. But do you all have questions of Mr. Lawler, or if you have something you want to add, feel free to do so.
Yeah, I mean, I can just summarize for the record. The primary modifications, as you pointed out, are in the kitchen and the adjoining room, which was just a series of it was just a series of closets off of a hallway. It was like a storage area. That storage area had previously been, I think, a servant's area with a couple of bathrooms and a couple of bedrooms. But it got modified in the 50s to make it a bunch of closets, and then in the 50s or 60s, I believe, the kitchen was also modified somewhat. I think you all went through and saw what that looked like before we took it apart. And so the plan basically is to modernize the kitchen, attach it to that storage area as a TV room, so it's a little bit more, a little bit more open, and then to connect the kitchen to the rest of the house better, because right now there's just a little sort of door that I think servants only were allowed to go through that went from the kitchen into the dining room. So that part of the house is very disconnected from the rest of the house. So conveniently, there's a line right across the back of the house that comes out of the living room, goes up some steps into the foyer, and if you continue on that line,
Maybe she can click to the next.
yeah,
Yeah, there we go.
I can show you on.
Well, if you don't mind, if you stay there.
Sure.
That works better, yeah,
Yeah,
because of
yep.
that. But we can see that. And we've actually got it here in front of us too.
Right. So across the back of the house there, way over on the left side, the big room is the living room. You come through the doors, up some steps, across the foyer, and then if you kept going straight, you'd run right into a wall there, which is part of the foyer. We're saying open that up, go through what is now the dining room, and then a second wall on the dining room leading you into the kitchen. So you could literally stand in the kitchen and look all the way through to the fireplace in the living room, having that one hallway all the way across the back of the house. And the idea is to take the kitchen and really make it more a part of the rest of the house with that opening, and also to have a little bit of a dramatic appearance through the whole length of the house all the way across. And conveniently, the dining room is already sort of divided a little bit. There's a couple of columns with a beam overhead shown in the dotted lines there going through the middle of the dining room that were there original to the house, that almost kind of say that's the dining room and this other area can be a hallway without having it look odd, like you're going through the dining room. And so that's the primary change is in the kitchen and the storeroom behind it, which will be a TV room. All we did there is open it up and move the bathroom. And then the other change is the hallway across the back.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's some minor changes up in the master suite where there was 4 closets that were all back together, back to back in the middle of the master suite, and we combined them into one bigger closet. And we took one other closet and attached it to a bathroom, because there was a shower that was just right in the middle of the bathroom that was put in the 60s, and there was no convenient way to put a shower in the bathroom, so we just took an adjacent closet and made that the shower.
Yeah. And I think you're doing a good job of taking all these little spaces and reconnecting them and making it really more logical and comfortable to live in. And really, most of the time, the elements that are most important, in terms of preservation of the front entrance hall and the living room, and of course the dining room you're altering some, but in this case mostly you've been modifying secondary spaces, and not spaces that would be more public spaces. We sort of look at it that way.
Yeah.
Most the public, and then semi-public and private, and then going on. And often the kitchens are a mess in these older homes. That they weren't ever meant for the owners to go in, I don't guess, or they didn't use them like we do now.
Yeah, and this kitchen actually had, a more sort of inappropriate to the house kind of big casement window in it, looking out onto, into the patio area to the right, or the garden to the right. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it just didn't quite go with the house, and we put patio doors there instead, which are a little bit more. That window right there, in the bottom center, is in the kitchen, was in the kitchen,
Right.
and now we have full-length, divided light patio French doors, which sort of echo the windows in the house a little bit better.
Yeah. Good. And the
And the remaining bedrooms in the house, of which there's quite a few, are going to stay unchanged. I mean, we're going to keep the sinks, the tubs, the layouts, the medicine cabinets. The only thing we're going to change is the floors. The floors are this really old tile that's all warping and coming up, really thin tile, almost like a linoleum tile. That we're going to put tile floors down to just to fix those up a little bit.
Good. And you started with the roof, I think, didn't you?
Yes, we started with the roof, and the roof is now waterproof, which is a good thing. Roofs are supposed to be waterproof. And we also did a lot of infrastructure work with a new boiler.
Downspouts, I believe, too.
Say again?
I believe downspouts were
Yeah,
problematic.
we put.
They didn't go all the way under, or?
It's interesting. The house has a really elaborate drainage system for the downspouts, and at some point it was modified, and all the downspouts, instead sorry, I keep hitting that microphone, all the downspouts instead went into the yard, they missed the drainage system. And we actually verified that the drainage system, with a little bit of work, was still usable. And so we ran all the new downspouts into the old drainage system, and it works great.
Yeah.
It takes the water away from the house.
Yeah. Now, Mayor Catherine, does the work that he's done to date, does that get included in this application? Because he's done a whole lot of work already.
It
I
is-
guess at
it
some
is
point
mentioned.
It's mentioned,
Yes.
okay. Yeah.
I mean, not the staples, but for this round.
Oh, yeah,
for
yeah,
the-
not stables, no, but how, I mean, he's,
Yes, the work that you approved with the
Yeah,
certificate of appropriate
yeah.
last year was included in this.
right, right. Those are kind of major items he was doing. Good. Good, well, thank you. You all have questions?
I think we walked through the house and everything you've done has been very appropriate. And it's
Yeah.
a real blessing to have you in the community
Yeah.
making this kind of investment.
Thank you.
I wish the Goodyears could see it.
Well, Ginny will see it. I keep telling her I'm going to have
That's
her come
right.
over and take a look.
You really ought to have her over to see it, yeah. Good, well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm supposed to ask if anyone else would like to speak, maybe in opposition. I don't see anyone here and that qualifies theirs. But we'll go ahead then and have a motion, and then we can
Chairman?
discuss. Mhm.
With respect to preliminary approval of tax assessment application number tax 024 for tax parcel number 105-12-01-002, 443 Lawrence Street Southwest, I move that we grant preliminary certification based on the fact that the work meets the 8 standards outlined on page 3 of our packet.
Second.
Good. Okay, any further discussion? No, okay. All in favor of approving the motion as submitted, raise your right hand. Okay, it's approved, it's ready to go. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the work on this.
When do you think you'll be done?
I've given up prediction. It's going to be a while.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll probably be back to see us again
Oh, yeah.
in
The
the
only way
future.
you'll get done is to put it on tour, and then it'll have to get done.
You're right, there needs to be a deadline.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting.